My name is Bill, and I am a current student in CS 124. For MP3, I decided to create code that allows you to add icons to the markers on the main map by allowing you to access the gallery and choosing an image. Um, right now, I will show a demo. So right now I'm choosing an image. I chose a picture of Granger Bob, which I added on top of Granger, and now I'm entering the description. And now when I'm done, I just get to press save, and a picture of Granger Bob appears on the map as a new icon. I used a lot of resources throughout my MP to be able to write it, and one of these is Stack Overflow, which allowed me to search up common bugs. As you can see in this screen, I'm um, looking at whether or not Android Studio can write to files, and I figured out that I couldn't, and I have to use a different method. I also used another resource, the Android documentation created by Google, the Android Studio one. This is to be able to find out what kind of functionality I could get each part to do. For this one, I'm looking at the marker, and this is how I found out that I could change the icon on the marker. Throughout my process, there was definitely a large challenge. The largest one that I had to deal with was storage. Because Android Studio, as I found out after a long time of trying, Android Studio cannot allow you to store things locally and then access them because I wanted to store my images and then access them locally through different paths. But when I put my path down in my computer, even a hard set path, it just wouldn't work. And it took me a lot of debugging to figure out like Android Studio just doesn't work that way, and you have to store it through their own method. So I found out that there's a method called getdir, which is a directory, and then I could store it within the local storage of Android Studio's like the phone emulators like local storage, and then I could add a new folder which I called media, and then in there I could store images. So overall, this challenge that I faced. It took me a long time to figure out how to solve it, but since I could use the internet, I could search up why certain errors were happening and how to solve the inability to store data through my local computer and find a way to store it through my phone's the emulators storage instead. So basically, how my code works is that there's an upload button that has an on-click listener that starts a new intent with the type of image and has it starts a new method that I made. So this method I will attribute to Stack Overflow because I took heavy inspiration from it, or else I would not have any idea how to write it because it goes into some of the deeper parts of accessing the gallery and other stuff. So basically what it does is that it takes the request codes and also takes the data and it checks if the request codes are correct, like the pick photo for avatar is an integer, so it checks out if the request code worked and also result code worked. And if that works, then if the data is not null, if it's null, it returns because if it's null, that means the photo doesn't really exist. If it's not null, it creates a new input stream from that data that it collects. So it's like a stream of data, and it creates a drawable from that stream, which where we can be used to put as an icon. And then also it creates a bitmap and then accesses that file. So it stores this image as a file, so I can access it later in the main activity. And in the main activity, I set the icon equal to the value in this file. I have another getdir in my main activity that sets the icon. But also have to make sure that the file in and out works. So I first check if it exists. If it does, I delete it because I don't want to create a new file. Like I don't want to create a new file with the same name. So after I see if it exists and delete it, then I will create the new file so there will be no conflicts. And also I create an output stream which helps me create my ending PNG. So I use the bitmap to compress it and have a certain amount of quality. I want to keep it lower than 100 because a lot of data. So I want to keep the quality relatively lower so I can store more. And then I have a mode private, and then all I got to do is I flush and close so I can close my input and output system, and then all the data can be sent to main activity to use an icon. And here I have confirmed that I've committed my code to the GitHub, and I am done with my MP. Thank you for watching.